Hi, hello, how are you doing today? So, today I'm going to tell you about the story of Nike, a company which is the leading brand in producing shoes. Its shoes are the top notch shoes if you compare to them to other companies like Adidas, Puma, Converse. Its shoes are the top notch shoes which are produced, and it's the leading brand in all over the world. And before all this came through, they had gone so many challenges, and this Nike company sometimes they were hit by challenges which threatened their lifetime of their shoe company. It almost closed, but through perseverance and through dedication, they were able to push forward, and that's why today they are the leading brand. Although they have met many challenges, they have come out of these challenges victorious, and also some of the things which also have helped these companies is being into controversial. They have been into, they go opposite on what people do, and this has led them to become even more famous because they take on a stand where nobody can take that stand, and they are very confident on what they choose, and this has brought them many fame. And later on, people realize that what they took a stand for is definitely the truth. So I'll be telling you the story of Nike and how the founder of Nike started it through struggles, but he was able to make a company which is a big brand today. So today, the person who started the company of Nike is called Phil Knight. And Phil Knight, before he started it, it was around there in the 1958, 1957, when he was about to join university. And that time he woke out of bed, he had a dream. And that dream, he was very worried that he had no purpose in life, he had nothing to do, and there was no direction in his life. So he decided on, he wanted a burning fire started inside him, which he could not quench. He just wanted something to do with his life because time was passing through and time was passing very fast. So when he joined and did a course of journalism, and in that course of journalism, he met it was his it was his teacher for athletics, and that teacher was called Bowerman. Bowerman used to be the coach and used to teach kids on how to run and how to run more fast. He was just, and one of the best students of Bowerman was Phil Knight. And Phil Knight and Bowerman made a friendship during that time, and they were very good at each other. And this friendship will come later and reward Phil Knight and both Bowerman later in the years to come. So when Phil Knight finished the university in the year of 1959, he was able to go and enroll in the army, still looking for a purpose in his life. He didn't know what he would want and what he will do. So he enrolled for the army and was selected. And after being selected, he served in the army for 1 year, which after 1 year, he left the army because of lack of finding the meaning of being in the army. He just left the army. So what he did, he enrolled for another business course, which he will do for, I think it was some couple of years, until he completed that business course in the University of Stanford in America. And after doing that course of during in that course of his which he was doing of business, he got an idea and thought of, can the Japanese shoes do what the Japanese cameras like Nikon and Canon did to the Germany cameras? So what he basically tried to imply is that, can the Japanese shoes do to what the Germany, to what they did to the Germany cameras? This is like the, because at that time in America, the most leading brands of shoes were Adidas, Puma, and Converse. And Adidas and Puma were Japanese shoes. And one thing to keep in common is that the Adidas and Puma started even before Nike, but today Nike is very far ahead more than them. So he tried to imply that the camera of Nikon and also Canon had taken over the market of all over United States in cameras compared to what the German brands used to produce. So this was a idea which he tried to tell his fellow classmate, but the classmate refused and just threw out this idea and said he didn't have some weight on the idea. So and it was easy for Phil to at least to convince other people so that they can join and implement this idea. But no one was there willing to help Phil, and no one saw that the dream that Phil had in this particular idea. So Phil, after finishing university and graduated with business course, he went back to living with his parents. That was around 20, because when he finished the first course of journalism, he was around 24 years. Then he enrolled for the army. Then he did another business course. So he was around there. That time it was 1962, 62 over there. So after him going to live with his parents, he started become more wary and more disturbed, because he didn't have a purpose in his life, and he was back living in his parents' garage and also his parents' house. So what he decided to do, that he told himself an idea or an opportunity cannot come looking for him. He has to go out and look for that opportunity. So what he decided to go all over the world and look for a dream and also travel. So the best partner which he took to travel with him was his friend. And his friends, they traveled all over the world. They even went to a place in Greece called Athena's Nike, where it is the god of victory. And you can mark this word Athena's Nike, which is in a gods of victory. So later on in the video, I'll be telling you how they were able to call the shoes of Nike. But you can remember right now, Phil is traveling all over the world and is able to meet a place called Athena Nike, which is a temple of the god of victory in Greece. So when they were traveling, even they went to a place in Hawaii in United States. After going to that place, there was so much fun in that place. So they decided they should extend their holiday and make it longer. And this making it longer, they needed something to do, like some work. What they decided to do is they sold encyclopedias door to door, and they were able to get some revenue from those selling of the encyclopedia, which now will prolong their days in Hawaii, because that Hawaii was a nice place and it was a nice state. So but Phil had one disadvantage in him selling the encyclopedias. He wasn't very good at selling the encyclopedias. It's encyclopedias or dictionaries. I'll tell you down below in the comment section when I clarify even more better. So it was one of them, and he wasn't very good in selling them. So later on, we see that Phil and his friend are separated, because his friend is able to get a girlfriend, and also that girlfriend, they become married. So Phil is left alone, and this was a big opportunity for Phil, because now he had to look for his own purpose and look for fulfill what he intended to do in life. So that's after separating with his friend, he decided to go to Japan, where that idea will be implemented. So when he went to Japan, he was just strolling places and looking for shoes, which will be a good type of commodity which they can be sold in America. So the type of shoes which he saw, it was a shoe called Tiger. And this shoe of Tiger was produced by a company called Onitsuka. So what Phil decided is to call the company which was producing this type of shoes, and after calling them, he will arrange a meeting with them and tell them on what he wanted and have a business proposal for them. So after arranging a meeting, fortunately, the people of Onitsuka were able to accept the meeting, and they were able to schedule a meeting which will take between their board of members and also Phil. So when Phil was preparing for the meeting, he had to read books of how to do business with Japanese. And one thing which helped Phil is his course which he did of business, which gave him he had crammed some things about business. So people, even if he had to give a certain impression, people will know this person is experienced in business. So later on, we see that Phil I had managed to arrange a meeting with them, and the meeting had taken place. In that meeting, Phil was asked a question, and he was asked which company does he represent in the United States, because Phil had proposed that he wanted those shoes to be sold in the US and by his company, which is in the US, because Phil had already just said he's a person who sells shoes and is a distributor, although he has just graduated from university, but he implied like he has so much experience. If these people knew that he had nothing, he was just living in his garage, parents' garage, they won't help him. So Phil implied that he has a company and he represents a particular company. So later on, the people accepted, and one thing they asked him, what's the name of his company? This was a challenge for Phil because the question came out of nowhere and Phil didn't have any type of answer to answer them. So he had a flashback and remembered the day which he was in a room, and in that room there were some blue ribbons in the room, and that's when a new name of that particular company was the name of that particular company was invented. That particular name of that company was invented. So the name of the company was called Blue Ribbon Sports, and Blue Ribbon Sports was the head of the East Coast, the West Coast of any type of shoes and merchandise which will be shipped to the West Coast, because Phil had asked these people of Japanese and told them that he wanted to be their distributor in the western part of United States. So Phil was granted it, and so he became now the official distributor of the western part of the United States. But the eastern part of the United States wasn't fully fulfilled. So later on, Phil went back to United States, and the first shipment of goods came to Phil, and Phil also saw these shipments of good, and he was able to evaluate them. And after evaluating them, to take those shoes which had been shipped to his parents' home. After he took those shoes, he took them to Bowerman. Bowerman was now a specialist who knew the different type of shoes which were needed to be used by athletics to be used in running. So after Phil took them to Bowerman, Bowerman just had a look at them, and the shoes were nice, because one of the things that Phil wanted these shoes to have, the first thing was the shoes should be of good quality, and also the shoes should be cheap. And these shoes which he had taken met all those criteria which he wanted. Cheap shoes, and also the quality is good. So when he took to Bowerman, Bowerman gave it a thumbs up, because Bowerman was a coach and he had so much experience in type of uh, area of shoes and running shoes. And one thing Bowerman used to do, he used to take athletics shoes and also design them the way he wanted, just cut out some parts of the shoes and also sew them back so that they can fit the type of running that he wanted the shoes to be. So the first shipment of shoes were 30 shoes. So after getting those 30 shoes, he was able to sell those shoes, and selling those shoes he had to go and sell the shoes by himself. And selling the shoes, remember at that time when he was selling the encyclopedias, at that time the encyclopedias he wasn't able to sell, but when it came to selling these shoes to people hand to hand, he was very successful in it. And one of the reason is the people saw that he had a passion in this selling these shoes, so the people trusted the shoes to be nice, and that's how the first 30 shoes were being able to sold by Phil. And after selling the first 30 shoes, he was able to order for more shoes, and after ordering for more shoes, he was able even to start up a store. And that store also, he decided to put like a museum in that store. And putting a museum in that store, both athletics could come and see that museum. After viewing the museum, they also had a choice of buying shoes which were imported by Phil. So later on, Phil had the type of shoes now started becoming so known by the whole type of America, and people started buying those particular shoes. And one thing which led to the increase of the shoes which were selling, and also the revenue of the Blue Ribbon Sports company, is that Bowerman was had written a particular article and also a particular book which states the benefits of jogging and how to jog very nicely. And this book sold over 1 million copies in the United States. And Bowerman, the people who now wanted to know about jogging, where will they buy shoes? None other than Bowerman. Now the person who had invented jogging in United States, was the right person now to also refer to people the type of shoes which they will use to run in jogging. So Bauman invented a type of shoes which will be used in jogging, and this type of shoe, the design was sent into Japan, and Japan were able to release that specific shoe which will be used for jogging. And this shoe also sold a lot of the shoe was able to be sold, and the company now was producing around 300,000 revenue per year. So the company was growing very big, and also the Phil had so much pressure in opening more stores and more stores, because he wanted to maintain the customer supply and demand at the same rate. One thing which Phil had a problem is when he wanted now to become the whole distributor of the United States, even the East Coast. So he went back to Japan and asked the Japan people that he wanted now to become the official partner in distributing all the goods in the United States. So they had one condition. The condition was the people in Japan would be able to send uh, those particular package of shoes in the East Coast side of United States at the Blue Ribbon Sports office over there. The problem is Blue Ribbon Sports had not any type of office in the eastern side of the United States. So Phil just agreed on it. When he went back to US, he asked people to invest inside the company, and told people that the company will be a big company one day, but people didn't want to invest in that company. So what Phil did, the good thing, one of his employees which he had employed, the parents of that employee decided to give Phil around $8,000, and we see later on that this $8,000 were able to be doubled, and they were able to be tripled into a good type of money. This $8,000 Phil got he was able to open a office in the East Coast, and the shipments which came from Japan were able also to be shipped at East Coast. And now Phil had taken over the whole of United States, and the business now was growing even more and more. But the problem which Phil had, and also the company, is that the people of Japan, they were still sending the goods at the same normal rate which they were sending years after, and even sometimes there were even delays. So what Phil was very angry with the people, because also what these people usually did, they will sell goods or that particular type of shoes in Japan first. After selling in Japan first, now they can take the other goods into USA, which they are the leftovers after selling Japan. So that's why goods will be come late, and also some of the orders will not be enough. And one thing also which Phil also felt disappointed is some of the designs which he had given to the Japanese company to redesign the shoes. The Japanese company weren't able to redesign as they wanted. So they had so much disappointment. Now hit the nail to the coffin when Phil wanted to be the sole distributor of those particular shoes in America. He went and he arranged a meeting with the people of Japan on Itsuka company. And after arranging a meeting with them, the people in Japan proposed to Phil that they wanted to have stake of the United States Blue Ribbon Sports Company 45% of the stakes of Blue Ribbon Sports. This was very unacceptable for Phil, and Phil refused to give 45% of that his company, which he started from ground zero through sweat and working tirelessly. So he refused, and this demand was very annoying to Phil. So what Phil decided to do, because they couldn't come into a common ground, they decided to cancel this contract. And canceling the contract, this will mean that Blue Ribbon will now eventually either be crushed or start from ground zero. So what Phil did, when the other members heard that Phil had cancelled the partnership with this particular group of Japan, the other members were very mad about this and they were very discouraged. But Phil took the opportunity and give them hopes and tell them that the Japanese company were either also delaying them and they were not good for their business because some of the things which they wanted they didn't implement. So it's also a good fortune for them that this particular type of company had just got away from them, so that now they can now start making their own shoes and start now getting their revenue fully, 100% of their revenue. So when the other members of the board had this, they were enlightened and they were feel happy of the speech which Phil gave them. And now they had to make a new, if they wanted to have a new start and have their own company which makes their own shoes, they had to have a particular name of a company and also a logo for a company. So this is when now Nike makes that logo for the tick logo for Nike, and also makes transfers the name of Blue Ribbon Sports to Nike. So the first idea which of a presentation of a name, the first name which was presented was a Phil, and the Phil presented a name which was, I think it was Oregon 6, to be called that particular name. But the other members refused and said this name isn't good. So one of the members called Jeff John decided to give it was Jeff Johnson, something, a name like that, decided to give a name of Nike and he said that yes, the last night he had a dream and that dream told him he should give the name of Nike. And remember Nike and that place before where Phil went to visit all over the world, and he found himself in Greece and he was able to see the temple of Athena Nike. So this thing also flashed back into Phil's mind, and Phil was able to relate to this. But Phil was at first he wasn't very accepting of the name of Nike, but later on he accepted, and also the other members of the company also accepted. So Blue Ribbon Sports now was reborn into the name of Nike, and they first designed a logo. They called a particular student in the university to design a logo, and that student designed that logo of the tick of Nike. So, and they paid this particular student that $5 for this particular design of the Nike. And this design has taken over so many, be it t-shirts, be it shoes, the design. If you just see that logo, you just know it. That's the logo of Nike. So by this design, although that lady which designed this particular logo was given that $5, this design right now is worth $1 million, because that design is the design which is just representing the whole brand of Nike. So now Nike decided now to look for distributors which are in Japan, which will be able to make for them shoes, and that's how now they started making their own shoes. They looked for other companies in Japan, and now they started giving the companies their own design and putting the logo of Nike. And one thing of Nike, and that was around there 1969, and the stocks of Nike now started increasing, and Nike started now becoming a big company. And now it was now everybody now could see the future of Nike, because the future of Nike was just looking bright, and people will see this company is now becoming a big company. The stocks even rose, and also the sales of Nike also rose very tremendously. So we see that also Nike used to invest in in athletics, like Michael Jordan in the year of there, when he was becoming a legend, he was able to be given a sponsorship. And one thing, this is what the Nike do, give sponsorship to people and also sports people, so that they, after they grow, they will be able to have the logo branded and also displayed on what they wear. So the first thing which led to their success was Jordan making of the Air Jordan. And after making these shoes were able to blow. And these shoes were the first shoes which sold over so many shoes, which also overthrew the Converse, and also they were the most famous brand in the whole world. And this is one of the successes of Nike. And Nike has also made other things also successful, like sponsoring Tiger Woods, sponsoring many athletics, also like football, and also many others. So Nike also now started even growing, and now it's even famous in the whole world. So do you remember that the parent which gave Phil that money of $8,000? So Phil returned that money as $1.8 million. So from $8,000 to $1.8 million. So that's what was a lot. And also that showed appreciation for the parents who believed in that particular company before it was even made. And that's the story of Nike. And I hope you like this story. And if you want to see other stories, you can check out on the other videos which I released. And please just watch out for the next videos which I'll also release concerning also business portfolios, and also how people grew into what they are today. And I've released many other educational also videos, so just check out the other videos which I've released. And please subscribe to this channel and watch out for the next video. So till we meet next time, thank you.